Hey friends, namaste. Here we are, Chat with Matt. It is the 2nd of September for us here in New Zealand. Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. Hello, how are you? Chat with Matt, we've got about 30 minutes to shoot the breeze. We're here to answer questions, here to talk to requests, share some information, but more importantly, share a vibration, right? It's not just about the information. Information is freely available on this planet right now. In fact, there's an oversupply of information, which is causing a lot of people to be very, very overwhelmed. Hey, sister, I missed your name. Ashik, was it? And I don't know why I assumed it was a sister. Hey, Sister Mary. Hello, though. So I've got some questions written in ahead of time. What do I want to say? It's full moon coming up in, it's like 8 hours, right? Yes, 9 till 5. It's happening at about 5:22, I think, my time. And it is now 9 o'clock my time, so it's in 8 hours. Hey, Sister Louise, I hope you've got your little machine running. I'm going to talk about that in a sec. So there's a full moon call coming up. I'm going to start that in 7.5 hours time from now, 4:30 p.m. my time. That will be, it's like, 4 and 7 is 11:30 at night Central Time, 9:30 at night Pacific Time, 12:30 midnight Eastern Time. It will be in the morning for my friends in the UK and Europe. So I'm starting at 4:30. It'll be 5:30 a.m. UK time, 6:30 a.m. European time, well, the main European time zone, Berlin time, France time. That's when it's on. Obviously, Australia, you can work it out. It's 2:30 in the afternoon for the Eastern Seaboard and 12:30 in the afternoon for the Western Seaboard of Australia. We're going to talk about freedom because that's what this opportunity is all about. This full moon in Pisces, with a particularly strong aspect in Uranus, is all about taking the opportunity, or even, I might say, relaxing into the opportunity of allowing ourselves to receive what's required for us to really achieve our freedom. It's also going to be obviously in the lead up, which is what we've been through for the last few days, about the releasing of everything that's holding us out of our freedom. It's quite a lucky astrology, some would say, according to astrologers, which I am not, but I've read about 3, 4 different, 5 maybe now, reports on what this full moon's all about. And I basically just run with what I feel rather than trying to intellectually decide what's right and what's wrong. I get the idea, though. So, and it's really, really needed, because that's what we're going through on the planet right now is, I'm good with the time zones. It's been 5 years now. It's been 5 years of working internationally, so I'm pretty good with the time zones. I can even tell you what time it is in Singapore right now. It's early, very early in Singapore right now, 4:03 a.m. But that doesn't really matter. What's important is we've got this opportunity right now, and to take advantage of the opportunity, you need to relax into accepting what is happening right now, which is why I put this little the advertisement for this live stream. I said freedom is attained via acceptance, right? And I could have made that longer, but when you're doing a meme, it has to be quite short. But it's relaxing into accepting your current situation. That's how you achieve freedom over it. We have to have a foundation in accepting the situation so that we can step past it. Because as long as we're fighting the current situation and making it wrong, we're going to be trapped and stuck in it. That's unfortunately what we see most of the world doing, and we do most of the time ourselves too. We see something we don't like and then we resist it, and what we resist will persist. Acceptance is the opposite to resistance. And through acceptance, we can more gracefully step past the negativity or whatever we're not liking, which is quite often resistance. Quite a lot of people are holding themselves stuck in resistance because they resist their resistance, right? Sad but true. Anywho, hey, Sister Steph. Let's talk about what Louise wrote in. I don't think I can read all of this because I'll be here, because my reading's really shocking and it'd probably take me most of half an hour to read it. But anyway, I'll start at the start and see how I go. So what has occurred to me today is the realization that we are on the cusp of so many breakthroughs, because the energy of this full moon in Pisces is bringing up from the deep places within us all the places and spaces we have allowed ourselves to be walked over, mistreated, abused, etc., right? All the places we've lost our freedom. Awesome. I really should work out how to say your name. Is it Ashik? Is it? Or Asqui? Sorry, I don't know how you're going to tell me, because dyslexia is not easy for me, especially with words I haven't seen before. Anyway, so getting on with let ourselves to be misused, abused. There is, quote unquote, nothing wrong with as such, even if we can see that we may be considering these experiences to be out of alignment. Exactly, right? So all of what's been happening in the past, and especially what's arising right now, Ashki, thank you, sister. That's easy, Ashki. All that's been arising, the discordance of it all is part of what we're releasing. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with it at all, even though it is not comfortable. That is the truth. So in the past few days leading up to this full moon, I've felt an intense to say at the least. It is time to simply release this stuff and not allow or give permission to these discordant energies to run us around. I appreciate that not everyone will be feeling the same. So what I would like to do during this beautiful time with Chat with Matt is I will be running a release program using my Healy, and a Healy is just a little electronic frequency generator, really. It's a little bit smarter than that. It manages to read energy and it does a few things. But anyway, so Louise has a Healy, and she's going to be running the release program, which is happening right now. So if you would like to receive this too, which is basically just a vibration that helps to stimulate the process of release, which is basically what I'm holding as well in my heart for everyone all of the time, pretty much. But Louise is doing something different with something else, a little machine. So if you want to receive what Louise is broadcasting, or her Healy is broadcasting, then just hold permission for that to happen, and it'll be happening for the whole time we're doing this broadcast. That won't interfere with your free will, just the same as I'm holding a vibration for your highest and best good, which involves you relaxing and releasing as well. That's what we do here. We work with vibration, and it's not like we're trying to manipulate you. It's just an opportunity and an invitation. So if you would like some more help with releasing stuff, relaxing into acceptance of stuff, then allow that to happen. It's just, just an internal intention to allow yourself to be helped with the process of release. What else did Sister Louise say? Regardless, please. Okay, so she went on to say, we're on the cusp of our own mastery, which is a loaded term. So please, now is not the time to throw in the towel. Just as I felt I was being pushed to do this with massive energy moving through, this is what I received today. Okay, so yes, it's true. There is a lot of vibration arising right now as we are slipping. It's just one more step. I let go of I don't really hold the term of mastery, because I do not see a completion to our process. This term mastery tends to, for most people, think that once you're the master, then you've completed that, you've learned everything you can, and now it's just your time to share what you already know. I don't think that's true of anyone on this planet. I know we call ascended masters masters, but from my interaction with them, they're still evolving, they're still growing, they're still working the pathway, and they themselves don't see themselves as masters of anything, because there's always another being who is further along the path than them. And the universe continues to expand, and God continues to expand, and there is always more for us to become, or less for us to become, whatever way you want to say it. There's always a new experience to have, and we don't really need to get caught up in mastery of anything, but rather relaxing into being who we've always been. But anyway, the point is not to throw in the towel, not that you can anyway, but choose to maintain a positive attitude to the experience you're having, even though it's potentially quite uncomfortable and relatively frustrating. I think that's what I've talked to a lot of people over the last couple of days about, is the intensity of this. It's kind of like there's a lot of stuff up, is will I ever be free? And there's a frustration behind that. It doesn't seem like I'm making headway with my progress into quote unquote success, whatever success looks like for the particular person. That's what I've experienced a lot of this week, is this intensification of the push to achieve their freedom, their mastery, and yet the intensification of the resistance against that, which always goes hand in hand. As we hold a stronger intention to become more free, more expansive, more loving, more whatever, more confident, then the resistance to that also increases its intensity, because the intensity of our desire pushes that resistance out more strongly. So it's an interesting dance. It's an interesting dance. And now is not the time, as Louise said, to throw in the towel. Yes, mastery through this present situation, I guess, is what I meant to say. And yes, our expression is eternal. Yeah, so whatever mastery through this present situation is, in my terms, it is basically surrender, right? Mastering the process of surrendering to acceptance that what we're going through, and from maintaining that relaxed attitude with what we're going through, it can happen much more effectively as we let go of the stress and the trying to get it right, the trying to master, which many people get stuck in, which is why I tend to caution people from that word, because they see it as a challenge, as a test, as something that can be measured, whether I am the master yet or not, yes or no, and it's just not valid. So, but relax. Hey, Sister Pat. Relax and allow it all to happen. Okay, Louise also went on to mention that she's, connected with two beautiful souls through this very group just today, with a connection through their place of living at some stage in Brighton and schooling and all of the rest of it. So that's awesome, right? That's what this society, this community, this group is all about. My big free Bright Light Beings group. We're here to help people connect in various ways, whether it's through a locality or through particular whatever. I want to use the word obsessions, but various energies that we like, various connection points that we have. It's time for us all to come together into community, because as a group we are much more strong than the sum of our individual parts. And our vibration is needed on this planet more than ever right now, which is a big part of why I love doing what I do, because I help people attain that vibration and keep our network growing. Not that there's any particular, narrow stream agenda. It's a broad stream agenda of just brightening the light on this planet to help our society keep evolving in directions that I like, right? Which is a more heart-centered light vibration on the planet. Louise also said that she's using selenite a lot. I also use selenite a lot. I have selenite here on my table, just a little one, but I also have a big tower of it with a little light bulb inside next to my other computer that I spend a lot of time at as well. It sits right there along with shungite. I use a lot of shungite. So shungite and selenite work well together. Shungite's black and dense and sends off fullerenes. And selenite is light, right? Selenite is light embraced, right? So they work well together. One's purifying, very purifying. One's very inspiring. So inspiration and support is always a good combination to have, because if we just have inspiration, then we don't feel stable enough to actually act on the inspiration. And if we just have support, then we tend to get a little bit comfortable and inert. So we want to have both in our life, right? Light and love. Inspiration and support. It's important. So I think I've done that. I think I've talked to what you expressed, Sister Louise, and I'm very happy for you to keep dancing as soon as you're here live with us. I'm going to jump backwards up the list to what Anne, also from the UK, popped in earlier. She said, I'm being negatively noticed. I'm going to talk to that in a minute. For my wonderful bright light beingness at work. Any advice for empowerment and celebration? Okay, so negatively noticed is an interesting term. You're being noticed and people are projecting negativity, I think. So noticed is noticed. It's not positively noticed or negatively noticed. It's noticed, and then it depends on who's noticing you. So at the moment, people are noticing you who are potentially jealous, which is interesting, or potentially jealous, or uncomfortable with the vibration that you be. And so they're projecting negativity in your direction to as a reflection of what they're feeling. You basically, and this is very, very common for us beings of light, as we get stronger in ourselves, we tend to purify others around us, which is a great role to play, but not always a comfortable role to play, because in purifying people, it brings their negativity to the surface, right? Our light shining through them illuminates their shadows, and those get expressed. They get expressed, and quite often they get reflected back to us. Your job is to not take it personally. I know it's hard because many of us beings of light also have been persecuted in other times, so we carry a low self-worth template, and we're people pleasers as a coping mechanism to that low self-worth template. So we tend to want to get others to appreciate us, to help us feel better about ourselves, because we're carrying this indoctrinated belief system that somehow we're bad or wrong based on the fact that we've been persecuted so many times in the past for being bright in dark situations. So it's starting to change. It's changing quite a lot now, but we're still going through the repercussions of that. So whenever we move into a place where there's still quite a bit of darkness around, our light tends to shake it to the surface, and then it is quite often reflected back to us, and then it triggers our PTSD from past lifetimes, right? Our post-traumatic stress disorder, based on the fact that we've been traumatized for being the light. We've been dragged out in front of the village before for using herbs to heal people, and basically ridiculed, humiliated, and then punished, right? Quite often in various forms, including killed, right? Burned at the stake, horrendous ways of dying in front of our villages and our families and all sorts of shit, right? So that's a pretty traumatic experience to have. We've had many such experiences in the past for being ourselves as a being of light. So as we choose to step into being a being of light, we're also purifying ourselves. So these vibrations are arising within us, which then instigates a reflection back. But we're also sending our light into others who carry all sorts of vibrations around the light being wrong, and they negatively reflect back to us. It's not going to be that way forever. And as you get stronger in yourself, it just will not touch you. It just doesn't touch you. I get it very commonly, right? People having a negative reaction to the being that I be, but I just smile now. It's just like, yeah, well, that's what I do. I don't take it, it's definitely not personal, and I don't feel scared by it anymore. The trauma has lost its veracity, right? It's simply just not something that scares me or concerns me anymore, and it's not a wrongness that we play these roles. So, Sister Anne, so advice for empowerment is basically to maintain your practices, because what's important is that you continually turn off the stress response. Because when someone projects their negativity back at you, it's instigating a stress response. It's instigating, this is dangerous. If someone's rejecting me, then I'm in danger. And it is just not the truth. You are not in danger. So the more that you maintain your confidence, which requires you to be out of the stress response, the better off you're going to be. The stronger you get in your own light, the less these projections even touch you, and to a point where you don't even really notice them so much, because you're being so much buffered by your own light shining out that people having their little meltdowns in themselves just doesn't even really come back to you. You don't feel it, right? Most of us are empaths, right? And we are quite often disempowered in our empathy, that we feel other people's stuff quite intensely to the point where it really influences us. That's not so empowered. We can still be an empath when we choose, but right, that is when we choose to feel what someone else is feeling, as opposed to, oh, they're feeling that and I'm really aware of it, right? Oh, they're really angry at me. Oh, they don't like me, right? Hey, Brother Gary. And it's just bombarding us with vibration. As you get stronger and stronger in yourself, your own emanence of your vibration protects you or buffers you against these inputting vibrations, so that you don't become lost in a sea of empathy, right? Empathizing other people's discordance, their negativity, especially when it's projected towards you. And that's going to help you basically just play your role as a being of light on the planet in a much, much more empowered way. And you won't feel endangered or in any way overly negatively impacted by other people's negative response to your light. Hey, Sister Alison, how are you? I haven't seen your name, but I just saw your face. So same for you, actually, Alison, right? Same thing. You tend to want to hide away from upsetting other people, but unfortunately, as the being that you be, you're just naturally going to do that. So we can't stop that happening. What we can help is for you to get stronger in yourself so that when other people get upset with you, it doesn't overly influence you. And in fact, it will help them. As you are stronger in yourself and don't react to their reaction, then it breaks the loop. So they're projecting negativity because they feel, but it's not even touching you. That actually helps it to slide right by. Awesome, brother Gary. So you've got your gold card and your pension. Yeah, I turned 65. Well done. Very exciting. 2 weeks of theoretical retirement, according to the government. Awesome. I'm looking forward to that too. I'm looking forward to the next 15 years to get there. I turned 50 in about 6 weeks. Putting that out there. Dealing with another little milestone. But well done, Gary. I'm glad it's been awesome. Anyway, another question further down the list here from Sister Jen Burns. If everything has a purpose, what is the purpose of jealousy? It's an interesting idea. Everything does have a purpose. We tend to talk bad about situations arising that has a purpose. Jealousy also, of course, as a vibration has a purpose. It's a reaction that we have that reminds us of what we still feel we lack, basically. When we have the jealous response, when we feel that envy and that jealousy, it's an opportunity for us to really see where we're out of, where we feel there's a lack inside of us. You've graduated, Gary. You made the club, got past 65 without dropping dead yet. So that's awesome, right? That's awesome. Sorry, I don't know why I mentioned dropping dead. So, hey, Sister Anne, I was just talking to your question, and I've moved on now to jealousy. So, jealousy basically is a vibration that reminds us of what we're lacking so that we can address that. Not necessarily needing to take it off the person we're jealous about, but to take some deep breaths and just recognize it for what it is. It's an egoic reaction to this idea that there's lack. We've been programmed into it. Jealousy is a response to our own lack vibration. Of course, in some people's it's intense and it rules them, and they spend their whole life trying to avoid the pain of jealousy because it's, as a lacking vibration, it doesn't feel great, right, when we're jealous. A golden oldie. And I do agree, Gary, I think the best is yet to come. And I have a lot of my clients are in your age bracket. And I agree. There's a lot of good to come from almost stepping out of it's almost an automatic freedom card from society, because society puts so much pressure on us up until the age of something, retirement, to keep producing and consuming on the planet, right? And then when we get to a certain age, it's almost like society throws us away, which is quite sad in many ways, right? That society doesn't value doesn't value people after a certain age. But in some ways, it's also a freedom that you no longer have to comply with what society wants you to be, right? It doesn't. You're not considered to be a producer anymore, and you're just on the slow decline of consuming, according to society, which provides an energetic freedom for you to actually step into who you truly be, rather than maintaining a role of what you are supposed to be. Provider, as a man in society, you're supposed to be a provider, and someone climbing the success ladder and earning more and more money. You sort of just stepped out of that now, and the government's actually paying you to just take it easy. Which doesn't mean you have to take it easy in terms of, you can still be a massive positive influence on the planet, and still really live your purpose on the planet, and still many people really hit their peak of quote unquote success, both in business and in status society, after the age of 65. But I think the level of freedom that's given to you is actually quite expansive and can help people really connect into who they are beyond the pressure that was on previously. I've seen it happen multiple times, and so I think it's an awesome time for you. And I know you've got a lot of life left in you, that is for sure. And you are just, after many, many years of hard experience, and not, what's the right word, appreciating yourself based on your programming from your youth and beforehand, you're overcoming that. So yes, I do believe the best is yet to come for you, Brother Gary. Anywho, jealousy. We can use jealousy in a positive way. We use the hit of jealousy in a positive way. It is basically in the moment where we notice someone has something or someone's achieved something that really speaks to us, before we allow our little lack mindset to start hating on them, right, which is basically what jealousy is we resent them for having something that we don't. We can turn that around quite quickly and allow them to inspire us. Allow ourselves to think, well, if they've achieved that, so can I. And it's not that they're lucky and therefore I don't like them because they got something and it's not fair that I didn't. We can more or less allow ourselves to be inspired into how we can do that too. Gary said, I have never felt so alive, positive, and so blessed. I made some very profound leaps in consciousness over the last... where is this going on? No, I'll try to see more here. It's supposed to say over the last few years. Well, it might even be over the last few days. Oh, cancel that. Doesn't matter. I'll get it as I keep talking. So that's the role of jealousy, in my opinion. It is, yeah. Over the last few months, it was months, not years, primarily around the strategy of embracing the pain, and in doing so, I was responding to the cry of my inner child. And oh my God, it has completely changed my life. It is a true wondrous experience. My hard work and seeking has all paid off. Well done, Brother Gary. I love that. And yeah, there's a huge amount of benefit in finding allowance around our pain, right? In not seeing the pain as a wrongness and something that needs to be defeated, but as basically just the natural repercussions of the vibrations that we are carrying. Okay, let's talk to that, Sister Jen. I don't feel jealous of what other people have or achieve, but when my partner shows attention to other females, I feel jealous. So in that moment, other people have the attention of your boyfriend, right? Which is what you don't have in that moment. So that's what you're jealous of. They have achieved the attention of your boyfriend, which is what you want. And you feel in some ways that you want that exclusively because that allows you to feel safe. And so this jealousy of someone else getting the attention of your partner inspires, I want that attention because if he's giving it to someone else, it's instigating my insecurities, right? It's triggering my insecurities in myself that I can't control what my boyfriend's doing and I really like him being mine. And what if he just chooses to go with someone else, right? We can't control that. We know we can't control that and it's fucking scary, right? Perfect, Gary. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. We need to be willing to accept our pain in order to rise above it. If we're resisting the pain, it will persist. And if we relax into it, we can work through it, release it, overcome it, let it go through a natural process of because, we can't change what we're not willing to own. And if we're not willing to own the pain, then we can't change it, right? We have to take responsibility for it. Not that responsibility is a burden, it's an opportunity. So, Sister Jen, it's about relaxing, and it's a very, very normal occurrence that people feel concerned that they're going to lose something that's important to them because they have no control over it. Sorry, just trying to get rid of that. So what's the purpose of it? So it's coming back to your original question. What's the purpose of it? The purpose of it is to inspire you, because it doesn't feel good, right? It's not a nice vibration. It's a vibration that, leaves you feeling discordant and what's the right term? How does it leave you feeling? Not so much sad, but uncomfortable, right? A jealousy is an uncomfortable experience, like we're about to lose something. It's a fearful experience, vibration. So it's arising to point out the fact that you are still putting your safety and your happiness in an external outcome, which is your boyfriend staying with you. There's your happiness, right? Now, inherently, you can't control that. No, none of us can. I can't control Marie staying with me either. She could up and leave right now, right? She could just jump in the car and drive away and I can never see her again. I can't control that, right? I have no leash on her, and while I've got a marriage contract and a ring, that doesn't fix that situation, right? So we inherently have to live with risk. We have to live in an unstable external world, and if we're allowing our happiness to be defined based on the fact of what we've got in terms of relationship or physical possessions or status, money in the bank, any of that stuff, right? If we're allowing that to define who we are and therefore provide our happiness, then we're fucked, literally, right? Because we're always going to be in fear of losing what we think we need in order to be happy, to be successful, to be joyful, to be spiritual, whatever it is. If it's an external thing, including a relationship with someone, then we're disempowered and we can never control what happens to those things. And therefore, we're always concerned about, well, what if that goes away? So jealousy is an uncomfortable experience that reminds us that putting our happiness in that external situation is not for our highest and best good. And we have to move beyond that, and we have to give freedom to our boyfriends, right? I give freedom to my boyfriend. We have to give freedom to our partners and trust that if it's meant to be that we're together, then we will be. And if it's meant to be that they somehow disappear and someone else steals them away through attention or whatever, then something better is coming to us, right? We have to trust, if we come back to your original, if everything has a reason, right? I just remember what your original question was, how you stated it. It's down here, scrolling. If everything has a purpose, right? If everything has a purpose. So if your boyfriend leaves, then the purpose is to allow space for something better to come in, right? So once we trust that everything has a purpose, then we can allow jealousy just to arise to remind us, hey, you're not giving freedom to this situation. You're thinking that you need to somehow maintain your partnership, your business, your client, your money in your bank, right, in order to maintain your happiness and your quote unquote success, or even your life force here on this planet. You're thinking you're needing to do that to right? And so that level of contraction, that lack mentality that I need this in order to be happy, is robbing you from the highest forms of love, happiness, joy, experience, right? Love is freedom and freedom is love. We have to be willing to give freedom to all of our situations for us to really feel free ourselves. Because if we're trying to hang on to something, then it's kind of, we've limited our freedom as well, our freedom to really be, because we're spending a proportion of our energy not on our beingness, but on maintaining connections to things that we think we need. Thus, we're not in the moment either. That's the other thing, right? When we're maintaining things for our future happiness, we're not living this moment. What else? Am I helping with what's the purpose of jealousy? It's basically just a reminder to that this is causing suffering. This attachment is causing suffering. And limitation and restriction in your life. And how can we relax through that and just trust that the highest and best thing will happen? The more that you relax, because the thing with jealousy is it pushes people away. It pushes your partner away when he feels you contract in fear around the fact that he's showing attention to someone else. It's kind of, it doesn't feel good for him. Some narcissistic people, of course, thrive on that because they want to feel needed. But anyone who's evolving doesn't want to feel needed because it feels like a trap now. It feels like a lack of their freedom. They're now having what behavior they can engage with impinged on because they want to keep you happy as well. Because believe it or not, your husband, your partner, your boyfriend wants to keep you happy because he actually enjoys being with you. Now, if he can't speak to some other girl because he's worried that you're going to get jealous and therefore it's going to cause problems for his relationship, that's a restriction on his freedom now. So now you're both sort of stuck in this space of not having your ultimate freedom to do what you feel from your heart, right? What did you just say there, Ashki? How about jealousy is actually an illusion due to false identification? Well, you could call it an illusion, but everything is an illusion. What's illusion and what's reality? It doesn't feel like an illusion when you're experiencing it, but it is created through identifying yourself based on the relationship being an important part of who you be, right? As opposed to you just being innate in your beingness, which then frees you up from needing to maintain external things. That actually the happiness does not come from outside of us. Yeah, well, that's exactly right. So as long as we're identifying our happiness from outside of us, we're going to be lost in trying to maintain these delusional relationships to provide our happiness. Yeah, exactly. So Ashki also said it's a moment of, so jealousy is a moment of energy to remind us we are not seeing things properly. And there's no proper, but we're not seeing things in ways that lead to our highest benefit, right? Our highest expression of ourselves. It's not improper to see things that way, but it might be quote unquote immature as soul evolution progresses. But you know, at certain souls are going to be at certain levels of maturity, people are going to be, you know, jealousy is just a very, very normal part of life. And it's not a wrongness at all. It's just part of evolution. Like you look at 3-year-olds playing in the sandpit, right? One takes the truck, the other is jealous and wants the truck back. Or one has three cars and you only have 2 cars, so you're jealous that, you know, he's got something you don't. It's very, very normal for an immature being to run in jealousy. But as we evolve, we start to find that jealousy really doesn't serve us, but there's habits there. There's ways of seeing things that have been indoctrinated over time through our soul evolution and also through our physical evolution on this planet. And of course, we've had it mirrored back to us and we've been indoctrinated through it. Sometimes our parents have displayed jealousy to us and various other important people in our lives. And we've been indoctrinated into this idea that jealousy is somehow a justifiable, normalized, and it is kind of normal if we think about it. A lot of people display it, and it's very, very, you watch television, for example, and jealousy is a theme that's played out all the time. And it's very, very normalized that jealousy is a normal thing to be. But as we evolve, we realize that it's really quite a yucky thing. So we're stepping out of it while society still kind of normalizes it. And so then we have our own, you know, fight with that. And shouldn't I be jealous that my boyfriend's speaking to someone else, right? Because it's been displayed to us so many times that it's improper for us to be jealous. If we weren't jealous, then our boyfriend should be worried that we don't care about him, right? There's almost that vibration fed to us to keep us disempowered in these lack realities that keep us divided and fighting amongst ourselves. Yeah, I get it, Ashki. But we, as humans, so Ashki wrote, I mean improper in the sense that love is infinite and from source and everywhere. But what I'm getting at is that we as in the human form go through an evolutionary process that is not, I'm just looking at the time, I'm over time and I've got to take Cuddles to the vet in a minute. Jealousy is not a quote unquote wrongness based, you know, on God's point of view. Jealousy is not wrong. It's a normal part of evolution. It's a normal stage we go through, whether it's in childhood, here on the planet, or childhood or infancy as a soul developing. Jealousy is part of the process of going through, and it is also a moment of energy that arises as we're more advanced to remind us, oh, I'm falling out of alignment with my beingness, and I'm now projecting my happiness into external situations, and now I'm fearful of losing an external situation that I think has more power than it really might have in my life. Hopefully that makes sense. Jealousy is definitely driven by fear, Gary, that's correct. But the triggers of what is within needing attention come from outside of us. It is the point that we need to avoid projection and blaming and listening to the pain, jealousy, anxiety, and not attach it to the person who triggers it. Otherwise, we contaminate the communication and lose the opportunity for healing our deepest fears, such as betrayal and abandonment. Exactly. So what's important is that you don't make the jealousy wrong, because it is an opportunity for healing to occur, which may, can involve communication and all sorts of things. So it's important, in my opinion, not to just contract around, oh, I'm feeling jealous, that makes me wrong. Oh, I'm being immature, I'm feeling jealous. Putting yourself down, it's like, oh, jealousy's arising. Well, that's interesting, right? When we come from that point of view, it's like, oh, that's interesting. What do I think I need to maintain here for my happiness? And is that true? And if it is, and to what level is it true, and why? And not to get too caught up in the why, but it's like, oh, I'm feeling jealous right now. Well, that's interesting. Here's an opportunity for my growth, right? Not to go, oh, I'm feeling jealous. Oh my God, I hope no one finds out, right? Push it down, right? Chaos equals opportunity. Exactly. We're seeing that in the world right now, Gary. Yeah, I get it, Ashki. I get it, right? I'm not calling it wrong either. It's a limited perspective that causes pain because it's not true. True in the wider perspective, but not true necessarily in the smaller perspective, because truth is based on perspective itself. So use the jealousy. That's the point. Don't make jealousy wrong. Don't make yourself wrong for feeling jealous. But use it as a tool to help you keep evolving through the various stages. Many of us have overcome jealousy in certain situations, and the other situations still have that connection. And so some of us might have overcome jealousy with our love relationships, and yet we have jealousy around business relationships. Some of us have overcome the business stuff, but not the love stuff. Some of us body image stuff as well. We see people think, oh wow, what a body, and it's like, oh, there's jealousy. Well, fuck, they must have to work out a lot to be like that. Or, oh, aren't they lucky, that they've got naturally that, body shape or whatever, right? It's each of us have the chinks in our particular armor where we see this certain aspects of ourselves where we are not complete with yet. And it's not important that we are complete with everything. Jealousy just is that opportunity to see where I'm still projecting my happiness outside of me. What do I still think I need that I don't have in order to be complete or happy? And jealousy gives us that opportunity to notice these things. And it also gives us an opportunity to accept these human qualities. Human qualities are going on. We're not supposed to be some fucking master on the planet where we don't feel any jealousy anymore. We don't feel any anger anymore. We don't feel any emotion anymore. We're supposed to be feeling these vibrations. It's very, very human. It's whether these vibrations are ruling us or not, right? So to feel a little bit of jealousy is fine, as long as you just go, oh, that's interesting. And you don't allow yourself to turn into that sort of, green-eyed monster of trying to control the situation because you're making the jealousy very real. It's important to remember that vibrations arise as the process of release continues. So as we evolve, we're always feeling emotions, and some of them are very discordant, but they're not who we're being, it's what we're releasing. And quite often, as we're stepping into more and more confidence in ourselves, we're releasing all sorts of vibrations, including jealousy, that's not really who we're choosing to be anymore, but it's still expressing itself through us. And our job is to recognize what we're feeling, relax through it because we understand it's just a releasing process, and not act on it as if it's a real thing, a real threat that we need to fix, right? If we allow ourselves to just understand that vibrations are just expressions releasing, energies flowing out of us, then we don't need to make ourselves wrong for feeling them. And that's really important, because as soon as we make ourselves wrong for feeling them and contract around it, and it creates a stress, it just sucks us up and we lose our intuitive guidance, we lose our ability to be so aware of our connection with God, Source, Universe, and our ability to basically operate in the world as a being of light. Okay, my friends, I have gone well over time. Much love to you all. I'm going to be back in a few hours. It's 10 o'clock now, so whatever that is, in 6.5 hours, we're going to be back for our free light language call when the full moon is pretty much exact. And you are all very welcome to join that. There's multiple friggin' things in this feed of invitations to that, right? The link to join that thing. It's going to be like 45 minutes of light language. We'll have a 10-minute introduction, and then 45 minutes of light language and a little wrap up after that. Awesome, Jane. I'm glad it was helpful. Awesome. I'm glad the release program on the Healy is complete, says Sister Louise. Much love to you all. If you can spare a prayer for our little bunny rabbit Cuddles, she's off to the vet today. She needs to be anaesthetised and have her teeth filed down because some of them have overgrown and she's having trouble eating. And we've got a sick chook to Zippy. You can run a program for that too, please, Louise. Zippy the chook and Cuddles the rabbit. We've got interesting timing with the full moon. Things, discordance arising. Zippy might be egg bound, we're not quite sure, but she's definitely off colour this morning. Much love to you guys. Much support. We will be back soon. If you don't make that, you can always listen to the replay. But we're here to serve. If you feel you need some help, reach out to me in any which way, and I'll work out how I can help you best. Much love. Thanks, Alison. Bye for now. Namaste. Hari Om. All right, turn it off up here.